Scott, to Ben, to Mitch, to Chris. You are so fortunate to have an event like this where you can come by and sit and relax and hear these great drummers perform and share what they do. This is what drummers do the best worldwide. Now imagine, I travel around the world. Last year I traveled around the world 3 times, performing different festivals, different drum clinics, performances, concerts, teaching at different universities, conservatories, and music schools. And what amazes me is that in all of my travels, now 3 times around the world last year, to 20 different countries. Most people don't go around the world once in their lifetime. Well, you really are good. Could you please give a great round of applause for David Snyder and this incredible team in Brenna and this incredible team of how hard they've been working. You guys are incredible. You know, when you see the sweat on his brow, and you see him coming out here and working this hard, you got to understand, it just doesn't get any more dedicated to the drumming community here in Winnipeg than David and everybody here at the Music Cell that combined to put this event on. It takes hard work, and that's what you're witnessing. One more time, a great round of applause for David, Bren, and this great team. And this is amazing because this is really what drummers do. It blows me away, this hard work that it takes to organize all the artists to come in as an international show, me coming in from the States and with my insane schedule to even be able to organize this event, to be here and make it happen. Just 2 days ago I was in Florida, and I went down to Florida to visit the great Jim Chapin. Jim Chapin is now almost 90 years young, and he's not really doing that well. Health-wise, his health is broken down, and he's really trying to, you know, I mean, just to try to even play his practice pad, where if you have any memories of Jim Chapin, always being this strong man that played the practice pad and, you know, was always teaching lessons and wrote a classic book, Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer, that came out in 1948. And 61 years later, it's still the #1 drum set book. So when you think about someone who had that kind of a mind, forget about the fact that we're even in the drumming community or the music industry. In any industry, for someone to have a vision, to write a book that can last the changing of all the musical styles that have happened, that book still remains an important part to learn. So basically what happened is I've known Jim for 40 years, and he's got me involved in organizing all of his products for him worldwide, and he actually kind of made me an executive in his will. That's how well I know him. So he called me down to Florida because he's not doing well and he wanted to have some time with me. So if you can imagine the intensity of the moment where basically we began the process by saying our goodbyes. What a hard thing to do. Now I'm 55 years young. I say years young because I'm still traveling around the world and having a great time. And I remember when I had known Jim when he was in his 50s, he was still a young, strong man. Now as I go down to this assisted living center, do I have your attention now? Let me just take the heart out of my mouth right now, put it back in my chest. And as I went down there to see him, he really was you know, not doing well. And when I talked to him on the phone, he can barely speak. I said, Jim, I'm coming down. I said, hang on, I'm coming down. I want to see you. And I want to get that practice pad out to get your hands back in shape. So he got kind of excited. I want to come down, and I said, listen, you owe me another lesson, so I'm coming down for another lesson. So you better get yourself in shape. You got 3 days to do it. So the doctor was amazed how good his health improved in those 3 days. He got up, was sitting up, and just put his mind, I've got to get myself together. Dom's coming down. Now imagine the influence that this man had on me as a young child when I went for lessons, and all the great teachers that I met. I looked at them as these great heroes of drumming. They always took time to share ideas. They always took time to stop and answer a question. They always took time to sign an autograph. It was an incredible example that now as I travel around the world, if I can be just 10% of the great men that they were, I'll succeed. So the example was very clear. Now as I go down there, I was inspiring Jim. So the cycle is complete. And I think this is really what a show like this is about. You come by here to hear these great drummers come out here. And you've heard all these different styles of drumming and all these different levels of expression. It's all about expression. All these artists came out to express what they feel, and they do it by playing the drums. When people ask me, what do I do for a living? I tell them, I hold wood in my hands, and I strike metal and plastic. And I make noise. That's what I do. And then people will look at me kind of confused and say, well, how do you make money? And I tell them, when I organize the noise. It's really what we do. As odd as that sounds, Scott hitting these skinned tubes to create a sound. And from that you can feel. When Ben came out and incorporated the glockenspiel as a part of his playing, how unique. In all of my travels around the world, I've never heard anybody play glockenspiel with the drum set. How great that was to hear. And the techniques he had to have with the mallets in his hand and playing cymbals and hi-hat and moving around. How great that he learned the skill base to be able to do that, to bring you a whole different color than what Scott introduced. Then out comes Mitch. Mitch, who I've known for many, many years. We remember being at a camp in the Black Forest of Germany when I celebrated my 42nd birthday during that camp, and Mitch remembered that. And we went out there and we taught these drummers from all around Germany that came out to this drumming camp for 1 week, and we taught and we played with them, and it was incredible to feel the vibe in the Black Forest. The Black Forest is, first of all, it's black. There's no lights out there. At nighttime, it's black. And we were out there drumming, and you know, with the lights that were out there and the candle lights that are out there, the torches, and here we are drumming in a tent in the wee hours of the morning. I mean, it was so spiritual in what it was that the students would come by, and as we played and taught until everyone was just so tired, they finally went to bed, but then got up early the next morning to continue it again. And this is this unbelievable desire to take this information and this knowledge and to pass it on. This is what this festival's about. It becomes your responsibility to take the knowledge that you've heard up here, as Mitch performed and did his thing, and played and put together all the different grooves that he went through in his experiences, and then what Chris just played for you. Think of the artists that were just up there, how different their styles were. The object on your part now, your responsibility, is to steal from them. That's what you do. You steal knowledge. When they play, you steal the idea, the pattern, the way they're playing it, the way they're holding their hand, the way they strike the drum, the groove they're playing, how they play their cymbal crashes. All this movement, you take it in, and you steal it. I have stolen from the best. As a young child, when I went to hear the great players like Buddy Rich, you hear this name. Now what's amazing is that Buddy Rich died in 1987. Many of you were probably not even born then. And you hear the name Buddy Rich and you say, gee, that's a name that's kind of an older name. Well, let me tell you something. When I heard him perform 1 month before he died, Buddy had gotten some brain tumors, and his last performance was incredible. After his last performance, he fell ill, went to the doctors, they found the brain tumors, within 2 months he was dead. But the last performance, I gotta tell you something, the last performance blew me away. He was 70 years old. 70 years old, he's on stage performing with his big band. I'm backstage at the curtain, and I'm sitting with my teachers, Joe Morello, Jim Chapin, Al Miller, Charlie Perry, Ronnie Benedict. These names that you may never know of, but who are some of the greatest teachers. Most of them are not with us anymore. And we're sitting backstage watching the King play. When Buddy came out to play,